We've got a very, very, very special guest in the house today. We've got the one and only Keith. As we were just saying, the proper way to pronounce your last name, the French way is
Breseé.
Breseé. Keith Breseé. He runs SEO Mastery. Keith is an expert in SEO. He's been in this space for 12 years. Over 2.5 billion with a B. I don't even like it's such a big number. It's almost hard to quantify views to his clients. He's worked with some of the biggest names and brands in wellness and beyond, from Josh Axe, Manscaped. He's worked with Remax, financial experts like Dave Ramsey. So these household names, right? Keith is helping drive traffic and eyeballs and views to these people. So I'm really excited to have you here, Keith, and get to just learn a little bit more about you, SEO tips and wisdom, especially here in 2025. I'm curious your thoughts here with all the shifts happening in the world in tech. But first, man, tell us, like, how did you get into this space? 12 years, that was SEO wasn't as known of a word or a term back then.
Right. So so I'm doing the math. I think it was I'm pretty sure it was 14 years and 1 month because it was like January 7th of 2011, I think it was. So I went to school for photography and doing weddings, I got burnt out. Like I got burnt out on weddings. Ask any wedding photographer, they'll know.
Yeah.
Um, and I created a course. I need to rebuy the domain and just have fun with it again. But it was iwannalearnphotography.com. And I created a email delivery course through Chimp Mail. And it was a $97 course for moms who buy DSLR cameras and don't know how to use them because they think they can just, it's as easy as picking up your iPhone and boom, there it goes. No, you have to learn photography. And uh, I launched it. It took me like I'm living at home. I'm just married. We're living out of my bedroom that I grew up in. And uh, you know, I'm I'm just married, right? So
Yeah.
and I'm 35. So I was 21 or 22. And
Crazy.
I know. And I build my website and I need to rebuild it just so I can have it for reference or go look at it because it was so jank. And I launched it and I remember my iMac, my 2024 iMac, no, whatever year it was, uh, not 2024, 14 years ago, whatever iMac I had is sitting on our bar in the kitchen. And I woke up the next morning after my site went live, like a kid in Christmas morning. And I quite literally like woke up, went straight to my computer, opened up Google Analytics, crickets. And I was so confused because I'm like, I legit thought Google should have been sending me traffic. Like, what on earth? I looked at the keyword research, a Google keyword planner, and because I had no money to look, and it's free, then it's still free now. And of course, there was nothing. And that was the beginning to SEO. And then Brian Harris of then Video Fruit, now growthtools.com or IO, I think com, uh, hired me. How did this work? I watched the Tim Ferriss and Noah Kagan interview, where Noah is talking about selling a wooden toothbrush. So this is 2007, 2008 ish. I can't remember. Somewhere
Early
in
days.
early days. It was their first public live talk, and fell in love with Noah. Noah then had a 1 day, what did he call it? AppSumo day, I think it was. It was for so his book, which I just took off my desk and put on my shelf. His book is the framework that his first he called it monthly 1K course. And that was the first thing I ever bought on entrepreneurship in any form or fashion after buying Tim Ferriss's 4 Hour Work Week. Because what guy at that time frame doesn't start with 4 Hour Work Week?
Yeah, that's like the Bible of, online business.
Dude, right? It's still so true today. And so Noah had a 1 day uh, workshop where Brian Harris was. And I flew my in-laws, because I'm broke, it was 200 for the day and 300 for the course, which I had just bought. My in-laws paid for all of it. And I flew myself down from Nashville to Austin for a 1-day event with Noah and 50 other people. And met Noah, met Brian. Brian lived like 30 minutes from me. Noah was like, you need to meet Brian. Brian then hired me to do eBay fulfillment for his business then. And this is like beginning of Video Fruit. I don't even know if Video Fruit was a thing then. And one day it was. And I'm sitting there in the office packaging up stuff. And if you know anything about SEO, everybody knows Brian Dean and Backlinko and the skyscraper technique. And he's sitting there one day and we're packaging stuff up. And he's like, hey, have you read this article yet? My friend Brian Dean published this skyscraper technique. Here, read it. Sends it over to me. I read it. And I'm sitting at this other desk in his office making, nothing. And we already have one kid at this point and living with my parents in my room I grew up in. And he's like, what would you charge to do this for me? I'm like, I don't know, $75. And it took like 40 hours worth of work for $75. But,
oh my gosh.
But that first round of the skyscraper technique in 2011 generated like 78, 72, somewhere in there, backlinks. And within 4 months, that article we were going for, videofruit.com/11 lead magnets or lead magnets. We were outranking Neil Patel. We were outranking HubSpot, Neil Patel's old site, QuickSprout. We were outranking them all. And he was like, dude, I'm getting so many leads a day. And he referred me to someone else. And then he also referred me to Noah Kagan, who is, I think, my second or third client, who then became my mentor 10 years ago. And I've been doing SEO ever. And then he referred me people. That was it. And then,
Wow.
And then if you know the old radio show, and now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah, well, it's cool, man. I love founding stories. And like, I think both of us started our journeys pretty young too. So like newlywed, new young dad, you're basically broke. You fly out to some event and the people who you meet at that event changes the course of your life. And I mean, for anyone who's not aware of the names that Keith is mentioning, these are like some of the biggest names in the online business space. And I think really like what we'll get into here, Keith, because your knowledge of this is like 99.9% greater than everyone here who's going to be listening, right? Now, anyone here is listening is likely has a business and their goal is how do I get more leads and traffic to my business? And so I'm curious for you, maybe you can give us a little bit of a rundown of like, just like very quick basics. If someone's looking to get SEO for their company or their business, what is like the very basics that they should be aware of when just like understanding SEO, and B, like, okay, I'm looking to hire someone for SEO. Like, what do I need to be aware of?
Great questions. Don't hire off a Fiverr for starters.
Yeah.
There are some things on Fiverr that are really great for SEO. SEO as a service, like individual things, not off of Fiverr. I've only almost exclusively hired off of, in fact, my entire team I've hired off of Upwork. Funny enough, though, Noah taught me how to hire, and that's still how I hire. And if you look up Noah Kagan, how to hire, that's my process.
Wow.
And it's, I
What
swear,
is, give us the 30-second version of that, how to hire. I'm just curious.
the job description has three. I give 3 pieces of information, and then I ask 3 questions. Then and I say, answer these questions in the cover letter. All who don't answer are immediately disqualified. All who do answer move to the next round. They don't know it. Then I gauge, and depending on if you're on Upwork and you pay for the boosted post and all that, you'll get 50 to 100 people applying. Then from there, I quite literally just gauge how long has this person been in the thing, how much of this was AI. If I say, what tools do you use for SEO and why? If they say Ahrefs because it has the best backlink profiles or data, I'm like, okay, that's nothing. I want a real answer. I want their answers to display experience.
Yeah, genuine, aka not just copy paste from ChatGPT, and then B, demonstrating their experience. And then obviously upfront, you're weeding out people who aren't paying attention to your details. So I love that. I love that framework.
And then from there, I'll give all of them the exact same. I have like test websites that I don't care what happens to. And I'll give them all a login. I'll give them all the duplicate spreadsheet and the exact same tasks. And I'll normally hire 3 to 10 for like a 2 to 10 hour test. And then from there, they went through round one of, did they read my description? Did they display experience and authority in their cover letter in my questions? And then how well did they come back with the
Responses.
the tasks that I assigned them?
Oh, yeah.
Paid tasks or paid hours. And I let them
Yeah.
know this is a test run. And then from there, I'll usually hire 1 or 2 people from whatever it is I'm working on.
It's cool to hear that, even from, you being one of the experts in your space. Just for anyone, right, who's like looking to hire someone, just the diligence that you're taking in your hiring process clearly proves that you built a team that is not just, B, C players, but you're really hiring A players. And even just you sharing that, I'm like, oh, this is good for me to know in my hiring process.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess speaking of hiring, and I know we're ping ponging, so I interrupted you, but I was just so curious. When people are looking to hire someone to help them with SEO, a business owner who like doesn't understand the nuts and bolts, they're just like, I want more traffic and I want more leads. What are you telling this person, or what are you looking for to make sure that they're like basically equipped for like that? A, SEO is a good fit for them specifically, and B, like, what do they need to know when hiring to not get gypped or hire someone who's gonna basically not do anything for them, or like give a half-ass service?
Right. So uh, I was trying to get a client sometime last summer, and they were a big influencer, and have an NDA, so I can't say who. And I signed them, and they posted on Facebook, "Hey, I'm looking for an SEO or someone to." They posted that they're looking for an SEO, and when I sent them, "Hey, my name is Keith. I've done this for this person, that for that person, yada yada. Here's the results." They were like, "Okay, that's great. Show me what you've done accomplished in the last 6 months." I'm like, oh my God, that's so good for SEO, especially. Because you can doctor and fake results.
Totally.
You could just Photoshop anything or just make a claim. Whatever. I did. Whoops, did I hit a button? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're loud and clear.
My screen popped up something. Like for example, 2.5 billion views. Is that real? I have screenshots from analytics. I have client testimonials. So I have things backing that up. So when you're looking for someone, ask them, what have you accomplished with SEO in the last 6 months? Can you show me some screenshots? And if they respond pretty quickly, they didn't just doctor those screenshots. If they respond next week, one thing to you can gauge someone's experience and how proficient they are in just asking them, hey, what are some core pillars you focus on when doing SEO? And the answers are site architecture or technical SEO. Kind of one. They're not the same, but they're meshed up like this.
Yeah.
Like this. Technical SEO and site architecture, and then authority. So, like, what authority signals is your site giving to Google to say, "Hey, what I'm saying holds weight"? And then 3, content. Well, this could be a simple right out the gate thing. You could ask them, "How are you producing content today?" If they're producing exclusively AI content,
Yeah, and that's something I was so curious too, your just thoughts on, because even like for me, when I'm using a YouTube or posting a YouTube video, right? Like I'll just pop into Chat GPT or Claude, like, hey, pop me out a description. But I all know from my experience and with what I do, I'm modifying that a lot. So it's not robotic. And like also, I feel like it takes out some of the guesswork, but I'm curious for you, what like my assumption would be that these AI and SEO, like SEO is trying to make it so that these generic like AI copy paste stuff is not ranking as high. What is your insight into the current state of SEO with like AI now being so dominant?
So, so yeah, for descriptions or headlines, short bodies of text, one tweet or less, so 140 characters or less, sure, AI all day long. And I do. Um, for long form content, okay, so there's two parts to that question. You said basically what's working with AI and how to use it is how I interpreted that question.
Yeah.
So when it comes to content and AI, excuse me, you when was this? I don't know. What is this? 25. So 2022, I think it was. Uh, whenever 2022 or early 23, Google is when they came out with, and I could be wrong on the dates. They came out with EAT, EEAT, or as EAT, and then they added a second E, which is experience or expertise, experience, authority, and trust. And so, and then there was a leak last year that contradicted what Google has been saying publicly for a long time. So that's a different story. Um, but I can't derail myself. So that EAT, if I pump out, what's a good example? If I pump out best kombucha at home canned drinks or whatever, the best brands, and I pump
Shout out
out
to
an article, and I tell the AI, hey, here's all the ingredients, here's all the stats for these ingredients, here's the sources for these ingredients, they're organic and all this kind of stuff, and it whips that up, and it's going to be pretty good out the door because you can use things like Jasper, Claude 3 Sonnet. Um, there's Brandwell. There's a bunch of tools out there that create content just like from a drop of a hat. But that experience, expertise, authority, and trust won't shine through. And like we had a site early on. When did Jasper come out? Was it 2021? I was still doing Manscaped stuff. I think 2021. Um, something like that. And we had this test site and like, oh, this is great. And Google had done nothing with AI, and we're just like full-fledged, just cranking out articles just because and this was like, it was a test site that was making money. And it was an interesting site. And we were at like 6,000 visitors daily. And 9 months later, Google came out with an update, and that tanked us to like 200 visitors a day. What changed? The content and the quality of the content. And that was the only site we were doing exclusively AI 100% content on. Fast forward to today, we might use version 1 of that as a draft and then have a human writer go through a human writer that has experience and has as much granted expertise, experience, authority, and trust all relates to different aspects, to multiple aspects in your strategy all at the same time. So we want the experience of, if I'm speaking about health and wellness and I'm talking about these ingredients, I want, like almost all of our sites, we have medical doctors or naturopathic doctors, the appropriate medical physician weighing in. Like if you look at WebMD, all of their stuff is either edited or written by a medical professional. So you have that aspect of it. So all of our articles for one of our
Just
clients,
giving that like authority, expertise, experience, I guess, and trust, all four of those buckets are being covered by having a doctor or quote unquote expert coming in. And then you're like literally saying this is written by that person at the end of the article.
written and or edited, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. That's cool.
That component of it. But then also like the experience, like like if you want to stand out right now, have a human writer write real stories, incorporate real stories. What's that phrase? The purpose of the headline is to get the click, or is to get them to read. The purpose of the purpose of the title is to get them to read the first sentence. The purpose of this first sentence is to get them to read the first paragraph, etc. Right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, and you know, AI can do really good job at story writing, but making it connect to a person and making them feel something in the first 15 seconds of reading, you just got to
Yeah,
have
this
human.
is my zone too, man. And I hear you in that because like I like what you said in the beginning. It can get you like a good rough, it's a good starting point. Just it sounds like similar to how you're using it for SEO and how I use it for copy and email for clients. Like it can kind of get the ball rolling, but if that connection point is missing, the reader's bored. This is like you can sense. It's like we all have a sixth sense of like, this is just like boring, generic, robotic content that they did not actually like, or even if they did write, it just sucks, for lack of
Oh
a
yeah.
better, you know.
So I'll parlay that into, or what's that, segue that into our framework that we've come up with that has allowed us to reproduce. Like we've taken three, maybe four sites, three sites over 7 figures in traffic monthly. We took a toy site to 950 something thousand monthly visitors. A Rubik's Cube toy site. Um, that was fun. And
I love the nicheness of some of your things. Keep going.
oh man, I got there's there is one of the more interesting uh clients was a I can't remember the name of the device, but it was a glass wand. Is that
A
which
glass wand, like, is this like a sexual sex toy or?
yes.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah. And it was for using a crystal wand because it had metaphysical properties.
Dude,
While
that would do well here where I live in Encinitas.
yeah.
Good
Uh,
target, but keep going.
so and yeah, anyway, it was interesting.
That's funny.
Um, so so our framework, we call it the people first framework. And because everyone in SEO is going to talk about, and these are all valid and important things, but they're going to talk about uh backlinks. They're going to talk about keyword research. They're going to talk about site architecture. They're going to talk about content and authority and all these things. And they're all important. They have their place. They're all kind of musts in many ways. But when you are doing, whether it's for Google PPC or general research or just SEO in general, myself included, for years, many people start off as, or start with, keyword research. Excuse me. Uh, Keyword research is not my paying customer. It is not a person. It is now a machine learning tool that goes out and with a bunch of APIs pulls back, a bunch of data that tells me, hey, a bunch of people are searching for this. But like if I'm getting ready for hunting season, so I have this is a 4570. It's a 39-pound kick on this bullet. It's a
Gee.
bear gun. I'm in northern Idaho, so it's a oh shit, there's a grizzly.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, that's what this bullet is. It's just a 450 grain. So for context, this is bigger than a shotgun slug bullet. But so if I'm researching, if I just type in Hornady 4570, that's what this is, the brand and the caliber. If I just type that in, what is my intent? Okay. So I can assume, and we all know what that does. I can assume the intent when I see that keyword that, oh, this many people are searching for Hornady versus what brand is this? HSM 4570 versus Hornady 4570. I can, if I see those two keywords in Ahrefs, SEMrush, whatever, I can assume that people are searching to buy those. But if it's only the keyword and nothing else, or the item, the product, it's, it's all an assumption. If someone is looking for something informational, uh, in a ballpoint pen versus a fountain pen, very informational. That's a little bit more obvious of a intent, because it's a, I mean, what's the difference between this and that? It's informative. If I just type in the keyword for the product, that doesn't really tell me much. And then, with today, with search and AI, the long tail keywords are like 5-10 words. Like, I'm regularly, because of AI now, I'm regularly typing out a full question into Google, and
Yeah,
see.
it's not just a key word, it's a key phrase or a key question.
And so Google is able to, and ChatGPT search, and there's and Bing, they're all AI driven. They've always been AI driven. They're all trying to deduce, when I type in whatever keyword, what is that person really looking for?
Yeah, like how can I give them exactly what they're looking for?
Yes. And, you know, SEO has been a thing for 20 plus 30 years. When it, like, 97 Google came out, I think it was 96, early, somewhere in there. So it's been, SEO has been a thing for a minute. And from day one, and I'm going somewhere with this. From day one, the Google's biggest asset, once they built it, is our trust that their search engine is going to deliver what we're looking for. Whether it's a question, it's a specific product, it's whatever it might be. Their the purpose of their search engine is to determine what the intent is of that phrase or keyword and deliver the best, most relevant results. Because if their AI and search results are delivering stuff that sucks, we're going to go to Bing and
Well,
ChatGPT.
we wouldn't use Google. So it's like the viability of that. And so then I'm guessing that the best people in SEO, you're you're doing two things. A, you're trying to get your client the views, and by doing so, you have to align it in such a way that people who are clicking for this goal, you're directing them to that product or services site because you're making that a match. And that can't just be a hypothetical thing. There has to be like legitimacy, which is why you needed the expertise, the experience, the authority, and the trust, which makes that a viable fit. So Google's like, bing, 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 this is what they're looking for. Now I'm going to drive more people there because this person's having success, they're staying on the site longer, all those different metrics.
Exactly. And so we knew clicks were a big deal for the algorithm, but in the May or June leak, there was like 100,000 documents that have a couple to thousands of pages in each document. And it's basically everything. It's your entire blue book to the backdoor algorithm to Google, quite literally. And we
Wow.
knew clicks were a big thing, but they're huge, like probably number one. And so if
What
someone
is number one?
clicks,
Oh, like how important clicks are.
right, overall.
Meaning,
So
like if someone a viewer's on a site and they click to like a slug or something, is that what you
so
mean?
that's part of it. So if someone is on Google and they skip the first three organic results and they click on the third or fourth one, that click is holds an insane amount of weight. Then,
Oh,
oh,
gotcha, gotcha.
right. So then how long are they on that site? How much are they scrolling? Um, are they hitting back? Are they hitting another link inside of there? Excuse me. Are they clicking on, a link to another post? Are they giving us their email? Are they going to buy? Google can see all of that. And so when when we when they get more clicks deep into the site, when they give us their email, all that kind of stuff, Google knows that our content solved their problem or answered their question. And so that's what I mean when I say clicks, just overall engagement. But so then the question is, how do we, coming back to the key, everyone starts with keywords. How do we figure out when someone types in HSM or when someone just types in 4570 45-70, like what's the intent? Like, are they trying to understand what the caliber does, what it's good for? Are they trying to look for a Hornady versus HSM? This is solid leg cast. This is copper coating hollow point that's going to expand. This is going to stop about 1.5 feet inside of a bear. This is going to go from head to butt of the bear and go through it. So this is the, oh shit, there's a bear bullet. But this one more. Anyway, so in trying to deduce what that intent is, the keywords are a fucking assumption. They're great data-informed assumption, but it's an assumption. And of course, we all know what happens when you assume. You make an ass out of yourself. So sticking with gun analogy, when you're aiming down sights, you know, regardless if you're open sight or crosshair, if my target is 600 yards away, and for context, shooting a 450 grain bullet 600 yards, like this drops like 15 feet at 600 yards. So I have to be like, and the wind has a big factor on this, because this bullet is for close range power and close range knockdown. So it's not made for long range. But when I'm aiming 600 yards down range, you know, just like a fraction of a millimeter off on my sights with a scope could literally mean I'm like a dozen feet off my target. Literally, like going to the range. And I was practicing with this round a month ago, 600 yards. My first 3 shots, my first one was 12 feet away. And it took me 3 shots to finally dial it in, figure out what the wind is doing, all this stuff, and boom, I hit it. SEO and keyword research, if you're off just a little bit on your sites,
one small word, it can completely
derail, miss the mark. And so how do we aim in? How do we sight in more accurately? Do we start with an assumption? Not ideally. So when I am selling a product and I have buyers, and this is why we call it the people first, and I have buyers, where do you think the best place to start is for my research?
The customers.
People fucking first.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we literally, my first real education, I took a 2, 3, 4 Stanford entrepreneurship classes online when they first came online, like 2000.
Yeah, which was mind breaking too.
I
Back
know.
then, like when I can take like basically Ivy League-esque classes for free or for a small fee.
Yeah. And it's through Apple University, which is not a thing anymore, Apple U. And he talked about finding or going from 0 to 1. It was Peter Thiel came in and did a talk. It was before his book 0 to 1, and he gave the principle. So going from 0 to 1, how the best way to do it is just interview your people, right? Or your ideal customers. But if you don't have ideal customers,
harping on this. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
I love that.
So while I'm talking, I'm going to pull it up for you, and the people can.
Yeah, you can share your screen too.
Yeah.
I think this is so important. I think this is business 101, what you're saying, but it's shocking how many people miss it.
But I'm going to the wrong folder. I have myself as a folder, and that's where all of our internal SOPs originally lived. Almost there. So I'll just go over these interview questions. Almost there.
Yeah, and even as you're pulling this up, essentially what I'm getting at is don't make assumptions, just look at the data or get the direct, go to the source, not guessing.
Yep. All right. Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm literally going to ask them, I'm going to record the call. In most states, if it's a phone call, I try to Zoom. And then, once they join the Zoom, they can, just have it recording. They'll see that it's recording. Hey, uh, I suck at taking notes and I want to be really present and I'll tell them this. I want to be really present in this interview and be respectful of your time. So I'm going to go ahead and record this for note-taking purposes. No one else is going to see this but me and my team. And then, I've never had someone say no to that. So
Yep.
I'll ask them these questions. Why did you buy X product if they've already bought? Ideally, you start with your customers first, always, if you can. Why did you buy that? How did it help you? Um, or what were you experiencing? What were you experiencing? I have this phrased wrong. How were you expecting it to help you with your business or your health or whatever? Why us versus anyone else? What are you trying to achieve or solve in buying that? And so I'll have some of these questions that seem like duplicates. Why did you buy this product? Or uh, what were you trying to achieve or solve? We had it was a gut health supplement, apple cider vinegar thing that this woman, I interviewed this lady. She bought like 6 months worth at one time. I was like, I need to talk to her.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she was like, my husband had cancer and nothing else helped him but this product. And uh uh anyways, she gave me all these things and she basically said, and because I asked her the same questions in two different ways, I got different pieces to the same answer.
This is
And
brilliant. This
I
is
can,
brilliant for
like,
anyone listening.
right. So, like, I could ask you, what color is my iPhone? You're going to say it's white. Go away. And I'm going to say, no, it's not. It's black. Right. They're both
Mhm.
right, but they're both different pieces of the same answer.
Yeah, and it's so funny, and I love that you're doing this because this is also like, I mean, I think what you and I do are like, we're both trying to achieve the same thing for someone, right? Like my zone is content emails, yours is SEO, which is essentially just trying to drive traffic and get people to become buyers, essentially, right? And so my process is very similar to yours when I'm helping someone. Like we have to understand these core questions. And I love that you're asking them twice the same thing, because exactly as you said, sometimes the way you phrase the question differently can elicit a different response. And to your point, it might be different, but both are true. So this is like so important, and I love that you're doing this. And I'm curious to like, what would you say? I mean, this is sort of actually, let me have you finish this train of thought, and then I'll ask my next question. As
Yep.
you can see, I have a lot of questions, so I don't want to go open too many channels here.
This is our updated version. I was reading that. I'm like, wait a second. That was an older version. This is the updated version. And this is the order that I asked them in. So then I'll ask them like, what are your burning questions? What did you hope to benefit or from buying this product? What are your underlying emotions driving this sale? I'll flat out ask them that. Um, uh, what have you done to reach this goal but have had no luck with? So, and I ask them, would you buy it again? And this
Brilliant
is my
question.
favorite question. What would you say to convince me to buy or join? They'll tell me that answer. And that is fucking gold. That's all of this tells me all these questions. I start every intro writing to these people. Like the people that I ask, now we'll put all this stuff into a big doc, like one big doc for a client, and upload that to ChatGPT and chat with that person effectively. And like we will write our intros to these people to get them to hook and
And when you
stay
say intros, you mean in your SEO content.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so we want to connect with them on an emotional level. We want them to feel something. And so this is 10 and 10A are my favorite questions. Where's my mouse? What would you say to convince me to buy? And I'm getting from the customer's mouth a sales pitch from their perspective. My
Yeah.
perspective, your perspective, they're all fucking shit. The buyer's perspective is all I care about.
Is what matters. Yeah.
And then I asked them, now give me the same answer as if I was a loved one. Convince me to buy as if I was a loved one, your husband, your spouse, or whatever. And especially if it's health or finance related, your money, your life categories, your money directly, buying this product directly impacts your life. Buying this bullet does not impact my life. It gets me meat for, however many months. That's good, but it doesn't affect my life like my personal finances or my immediate health, like a supplement or a coaching program for you get the point.
Totally.
And then when I ask them that, their answer changes, and it's much more intimate every time. And it's white and black, cold and hot, completely different from 10 versus 10A. And
Yeah.
it's like, this informs, like, we have a client right now that health and wellness space. What year is this? 4 years ago, when we started with them, they were doing 40,000, 42,000, right around 40, excuse me, a month in recurring revenue from SEO.
Wow.
Um,
So that's 40 grand a month directly just from like Google SEO search.
Correct. And that was before us. That was just from just their time doing it. Now we're over 400. We're right under 400 a month
Wow.
from SEO. And
10x just from SEO. And anyone listening, that's like mind blowing to me to just think through. That's the power of SEO, right?
oh
Like
yeah,
mind
but
blowing.
the kicker is their ads team, which is a huge influencer in our space. I can tell you off camera, but it's a well-known brand, and person running their ads. All of this data, every time I do new round that I update, hey, ad team, media buying team, here's more data. And then they go and turn those into ads. Like this company, when I started with them, they were doing,
It makes sense, man. That makes
right.
so much sense to me.
They were doing 6-7 million in annual revenue, supplements. And now they're past 30.
Yeah, because what you're doing here, I mean, this is, dude, it's so funny because I do this with my clients too. Like
Ah,
and I think there's something here to be said of as the business owner or the business. I talk about this all the time. You're so close to your business, it's almost like hard for you to be able to think from this outside perspective that you, Keith, are coming in to ask these questions. Like this is the goal. People are like, what do I make content about? Like this is the fuel for the ads marketing team.
this is,
So
I'm not exaggerating. I just got a new partner. Like I'm taking part of the business and doing shenanigans. And literally, she has like 400 or 500 customers. Half of them are our repeat buyers. And I got on the phone with like 5 of them last week, and individually. And I asked them a handful of questions, and 7 of them, excuse me, asking these questions. And from those 7 people answering all of these, 30 minutes on average each call, not everybody can spend that kind of time. They were all friends of the owner, so they were willing to invest more.
yeah.
Also, don't ask your mom these questions, or friends
Yeah.
and family, like legit buyers. And they were all these people that I interviewed had spent like over $1,000 on a physical product with my partner on this in the last year. So they were outliers. Um, uh, those 7 people gave me enough information that I turned around for her, my partner in this new venture, uh, a year's worth of daily content, all driven from, this is what we call, like literally in my SOPs, it's analog research. And then from here, we turn it into digital research, which is then, okay, our customers are saying this. Then we back that up with keyword data and see where they align, see what makes sense. And then we go produce content off of that. I mean, there's more steps to it than that, because we'll create from all these questions, we'll create an awareness map. Look up
Yeah.
Russell Brunson levels of awareness. And then we'll create an empathy map, and then a mind map, which the mind map is what allows us to really scale, because it's a visual tree of your content. That's basically what it is. But then from there, you're able to see visually how to structure your site, which is a big thing. Your site structure is off, you're fucked. Um, then you're able to find backlink opportunities from that. That's a whole other conversation, which
Yeah.
backlinks are votes in Google's eyes, and you want more quality of those as possible. And that plays into the EEAT, the authority component. One of those components is outside signals coming in. That's people linking to you. So when you see originally seen on a Forbes article, originally seen on Smoky Barn in a news in White House, Tennessee, some little hodunk newspaper, and that blue text is the link. the hyperlink to go to that original article, that's the backlink that I can't control. Someone else does. So it's an outside vote. Anyway, so
Yeah.
when you do
And
all
then,
this, go.
oh, I was going to say, because I have to wrap here in 4, I wanted to
Yep.
ask just 2 kind of key questions for you. One, because a lot of people who in my experience, and correct me if I'm wrong, they don't want to be doing this, hence they're hiring you. So what is the typical like revenue per month in your experience where someone like typically, I'm sure there's not a black or white answer, but like where someone should be like, okay, now we're at the place where we're able to like invest into SEO.
So great question. So if you're not already having consistent sales, like, and you don't have a consistent, predictable machine pumping out cash, SEO, it's great to get started, but having it be your main channel is probably not ideal. Um, uh, Unless you have time and not money, then SEO should be SEO, and social media, which comes from all of this, should be your big play. But like in our on take form for, because we have done with you coaching clients where we give them all of our SOPs, the SEO mastery stuff.
Mhm.
Total plug there. We will uh, if we're doing the SEO, I'm going to say no to everybody who's not making at least 2 million top line revenue, at least.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then it's still possibly a no. Everyone under that, it's a, hey, if you want to focus on it, you should, but maybe not be your core focus just yet. Get ads or social going first, but SEO needs to be in tandem with that. Um, Here is our coaching. We get on a call with you daily. Uh, Here's all of our SOPs. We make sure you're doing the work right, but we're not doing the work. So it's largely a revenue uh, play there, because if they don't have the revenue, they don't have the internal team or
Yeah.
budget, which means they have the time. So then we're going to make sure that they invest their time wisely with the coaching. And if they just want to outsource it, then it's, then you
Totally,
can't
because
outsource it.
you're an expert. You have a premium service, which makes sense, and that's where I think it's so brilliant that you've created this coaching model where like you're giving people the framework. They just have to like go execute, but you're telling them step by step exactly what to do. And I have a friend. I think he was at 40 around like 30 or 40K per month, and he started doing SEO, and then I got email marketing in the game, and then it was like his business took off. So like you
Oh
probably
yeah.
are working with people in that 200K plus per month up in terms of you actually executing for them, but anyone who's under that, and I guess someone has to discern like, okay, like where are you at in your business? Do you have some resources to spend here? But like if you already have something working, it's kind of like fuel on the fire.
Oh,
um
completely.
so,
It's
and
all
then for
shit.
anyone who, if someone wants to connect with you, obviously we're here on Facebook. Keith Breseé, did I get that right?
Yep. You're good.
Let's go. I kind of look French, but I'm not. I'm zero French. But they can find Keith Breseé on Facebook, SEOmastery.com. Like you've worked with literally some of the biggest names in the world in wellness and in other industries. I'm passionate about health and wellness, so it's cool. Like as you and I have shared some of the brands and companies you've worked with. But dude, I just want to also say thank you for your time because I could tell you know so much about what you know. I'm like, okay, like let's try and make this like SEO for dummies in a way where like, the business owner's like, yo, you're talking Chinese to me, but I know I need this. And I think
Yeah.
what you shared today was super helpful. And then anyone who wants to like work with you personally or could at least get coached by you to like get started with some of these frameworks. I mean, seeing your
Yeah.
numbers, the talk. I know a lot of our Facebook friends who I trust, that's how I think we initially got connected. Like you're legit in this
Yeah.
space and it's cool to see what you're doing. And it's also just always mind blowing to me, like the parallels between what we do of like some of these core foundational business basics. Which when I was seeing that, I'm like, of course, this is what he's doing. So
Oh, yeah.
really, really appreciate your time and
My
wisdom.
pleasure, dude. Totally.
Yeah. Cool, brother. Well, we'll hop off here. Everyone coming in from Zoom land, Facebook land, YouTube land, wherever you're watching this. Keith, his site is SEOmastery.com, Facebook, Keith Breseé, and have a wonderful rest of your day.